Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue 6, Tom Taylor with John Timms on art. And this, you know what's so funny is I kept forgetting that the annual was an annual. Like, because I was like, didn't that just happen? I'm like, oh, technically it was an annual, so it could have slotted in anywhere. So it's not necessarily a right now thing. Because I kept waiting for Lex to be referenced again in this. And he never was.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
No, we get a different, we kind of, but not really.
We get Bendix, we get Lex 2.0 or whatever you want to call him. So we do a little thing at the start here in Bloodhaven, which I have to admit is going to play in a little bit to the crossover that's coming up between Nightwing and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense. But it's basically this superpowered agent who is kidnapping homeless young people for experiments back in Gamora.
Do we think Heartless has something to do with this, or do you think that's
unrelated?
Heartless is running concurrent to the people, kidnapping these ones.
I don't think it's related.
Okay, because it's a similar MO, except he's stealing hearts, and not in the HBK way, actually, in the Mola Ram way.
But No, I think this is specific to this plot, but I'm sure it's going to come up in Nightwing, and that's why we'll have the crossover. It may not even come up until the issue that's actually the crossover. I don't know if it's
might be just a case of that's why John goes to Bloodhaven. Yeah, because hey, this is coming out of this city, so I'm going to go investigate it. And Nightwing's like, well, I'll help.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and here's the other thing. Do we think this is related to the Freedom Fighters, the team from the Suicide Squad? Like we have Wink and Airy. We both know they got their powers.
Everyone's just shut down Matt today.
And again, I think this one's more likely, but I still think no.
Okay. Because we do know, because Jay is friendly with them.
Right. I think the reason I'm hoping not, and again, don't get me wrong, I'm all for, hey, let's have these characters around and interconnectivity and whatever, but Jay's origin that we'll learn this with a presidential parent is eerily similar to,
and that's why I feel like they're a little bit tied.
Oh, to me, it was already like, I don't think I like this. It's like it's a little bit too.
Honestly, I
kind of just did this.
I'll interject here. I have two nitpicks about this issue, and that's one of them. Is that I don't like that his mother turns out to be this important person. The fact that the ex-president that Bendix took the position from is his parent made me roll my eyes a bit. I'm not going to lie.
Yep.
There's that in general. Just he happens to be that important, or by proxy, because of that. But also just the presidential parent thing was something Taylor just did in Suicide Squad
with Airy.
Yeah,
and it also gets me too that with Jay, I was hoping that they were just gonna have that Lois Lane sense of, I'm from Gamora, it's messed up, I want to change things. The fact that it's more personal, that it's his mom was the former president, it's a hat on a hat.
I don't mind the idea that he's got a parent who's trapped there that he wants to save. I think that's fine, but the fact that it's the president that's important,
that's the hat on the hat, where it's like, okay, him wanting to go back and save his mom, who got whisked away for being part of this freedom movement, right? Still works. But making her the president, and what's the island that Ares from? Or their mom was the president.
I don't remember the name.
Good luck remembering that. Yeah, so we see that they're on the teens that are stolen are on a shipping crate and on a boat. Presumably going to not Beniza. That was the last bit we read. Gamora. So we cut to Lois and Batman, and Batman's like, look, we missed the thing going to the Kent farm, but it was a small plane. It didn't have any weapons on it, but they turned a person into a weapon, which is how it sort of bypassed the safety features. So we're going to have to set you and the Kents up somewhere safe. And she's like, yeah, set the Kents up somewhere safe. But I'm Lois freaking Lane. I'm going to go figure out what's going on and all the rest of it. And then we have Superman, John, who is nervous about going back to talk to Jay. And basically says, I owe you dinner because, I invited you over and then the house blew up. So I'll go get some food.
And also, basically calming John down, and he's like, I don't know what would have happened. And Chase is like, probably a whole lot more destruction. You are superpowered. I do love their dynamic.
Yeah, so they have some pizza on top of the Daily Planet globe, and get some back
from
and
New
forth.
York. He made a big deal that he flew all the way to New York to get that pizza.
Is that far, really?
I don't know. Where is Metropolis?
Don't start that. I don't care. I don't. This is one of these nerd debates. I don't care.
I'm assuming when I say "is it that far?" really, in the context of the first question he asks is, "Oh, did you go to Italy for this?" So in context, New York isn't that far by comparison.
Right, but he still didn't. It's not like he went to his favorite pizza place in Metropolis.
Yeah.
Right. He went extra to go to New York, however far it is away.
Right. Well, anyway, this is where he gives the backstory about his mother, and him being tested on until he got his invisible, or not invisible, but his incorporealness. Incorporealness. Thank you.
He can phase.
He can phase through things. Right. So they come up with this plan. They go to steal some records to try and figure things out and maybe connect like who's responsible for everything. So it's actually Jay who's going to sneak in with his powers, and John feels uneasy about it because, you know, he's the one who puts his life on the line. He doesn't like other people doing it. And the irony here, probably the best thing I think about this issue, is the ultimate joke here is that he runs into Damien and then they both run into Lois because they're all there to help John and figure out what's going on. So they end up obviously working together, and they get back outside and there's interactions and whatnot.
I laughed at the line from Damien. He goes, "Yeah, I'm a friend of John. He doesn't have any others.
It's just me." Yeah. You know, and it's all of this stuff is fairly delightful. I will say Damien's line where he says, "I'm really happy for you, man," and sort of like hits him in the arm. I like everything else around this. I like Lois pointing out that it's unnerving that Damien's smiling. She's not used to it coming from him. I will say that at a specific moment, though, it felt like it was a little too straight for Damien in the way he says it. I almost expect a bit more attitude in how he says it. Like, I think he would give the sentiment. Don't get me wrong, but I think he'd do it in his own Damien way.
I always feel like he is the guy that threatens the significant other of the best friend. Like,
yeah,
you don't hurt them, or I'm going to hurt you. And
he pulls the parental role.
Yes.
Yeah, and then John's gonna be like, all right, don't ignore him. He's dumb.
And we let John be like, "Hey, I'm older than you now. Remember?"
Yeah.
And Dan's like, "So." Yeah.
So I don't care. Like, this is like Superman saying to Batman, "I've got powers," and Batman's always like, "I don't care, I don't need them." This is the equivalent. This is Damien saying, "I don't care if you're older. I'm Damien."
Yeah.
Did you fight in a Mortal Kombat-esque tournament to prevent your grandmother from, resurrecting a demon? No, shut up.
Yeah, so that's all delightful. So they find out what ship people have been taken on, and they've recognized a couple of like high officials and notably the superpowered guy that's doing all this. They don't recognize, like, oh, there's some mysterious other person, so he's a bit of a mystery to them. But John goes to the ship, rips open the door to the kidnapped teens and stuff. Unfortunately, this superpowered guy, like, he's not actually strong enough to put John down, but John does feel it. Like, he gets kind of weak and he realizes that he's not going to win this, so he just quickly grabs the diplomat and the creative kidnapped kids and just flies off. He knows he can't fight this. This power's too strong.
Yeah.
Now, clearly this is better than what most people do, because the guy points out when he's explaining this to Bendix later, he's like, "Nah, John was too powerful, he got away." Like, clearly everyone else he does this to just like passes out, and that's it. That's the end of it. But so we get this scene where he's saving them, and it's nice enough. The big sort of reveal here with this is when he takes this guy back to Jay, who's got a mask on. He's not revealing who he is. It turns out that his mother's still alive. She's still there to be saved.
Because of course she is.
Yeah. So, and then we just see that they've got a lot of people they've been doping with superpowers. They've got a bunch of test tubes with various characters in them, and they're calling this the Rising. So Bendix has got an army of superpowered beings that he's going to unleash soon.
Yeah.
Okay. So we all know we all love Tom Taylor. Right?
Yes.
Patron saint of the show.
Lord and Savior.
So I looked up the Aerie. Right, Ares from Botanesia, which we just saw in Batman.
And Batman,
right?
Yeah.
We should have remembered, really, shouldn't we?
They were part of the Post-Human Project, which was illegally turning people into metahumans. Sounds an awful lot like someone from Gamora getting tested on to be a part of the Rising.
It feels like there's a lot of plot beats kind of being recycled into this book, doesn't it?
Maybe we'll find out like the diplomat or something was the one who like defected, like he escaped towards the end of Banisia stuff, and he went to Bendix and said, "Hey, I've got some ideas for you." So maybe there will be a tangential link like that, where the inspiration came from the same place or something.
Maybe, but right now it feels like, hey, the superpowered experiments, the army that they're creating, the presidential parent. It feels like there's some recycled beats going on.
They always said that the 11 issues we got of Suicide Squad was all that was ever planned. But I suppose you could argue that maybe this is a sense that maybe there was more story to tell with all this, and this is him just doing the rest of it now.
Yeah, I mean, there are similar threads, and that's why I thought maybe it's part of that same plot line, because once Wink and Aerie showed up, it was, you're like, oh, young kid with power, of course they're, but it's a little bit too on the nose if they're not.
I think this is fairly possible. I poo-pooed the first idea you had, whatever that was, I've forgotten it now. But this one seems reasonable enough.
Yeah.
I still don't think it is related, but it could, it's more possible than the other one, I think. But I still, my instinct was that no, they're not.
This is the little bit that David will clip out, and whenever he's proven wrong later, it'll flash back to this in black and white.
Fun.
I mean, I don't care.
I hedged my bets pretty safely there. There was a lot of I think and possible and maybes.
There's still a lot of good stuff here, so it's like I'm not gonna throw it all out. But this was the first issue where I felt like there's a lot of repeating plot lines going on here, and just the being the kid of a nation's leader that got deposed. It's just
the reveal, the backstory and reveal of who Jay's mother was definitely kind of the first big plot problem I've had with this story, and it's not. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal in the long run necessarily, because like I said, the core thing of this issue, which is that all of people who care about John are all trying to help him, even though John doesn't think he wants help. Doesn't want to put people out. Is a nice sweet idea that tells you how much John means to the people around him. That's all good stuff. But certainly from the plot of what the current story is doing right now, it does feel like it is going into some tropes that I could have done without. And I never really thought about it repeating things necessarily, but you're right, it is kind of treading similar ground in a lot of ways.
Like, I think the superpowered experience is generic enough that a lot of people do that, where I wouldn't have called it out for being repetitive if it wasn't Taylor that did the other story as well. That's the only reason it feels more repetitive than just generic. Whereas I think the presidential thing, it's much more specific.
But like if he ties them together, and that's how Bendix is trying to, he's taken the kids of these small nations presidents and using them for leverage, like.
Well, that's why I'm saying there could be a link in that, like. Not so much that I think Bendix is going to turn out to be behind what was going on in Banisia, although it could turn out. I mean, it could pull that if it wants to. It's more just like I could see there being like a link of like more and more places that are corrupt are trying to do this, because it makes sense in a world filled with metahumans that they're going to try and build their own metahuman armies. So maybe like it will be brought up that it is similarly. I don't think he's unaware of this. All this is an accident by any means.
It feels like a lot of effort to kidnap Americans and experiment on them rather than just using kids in your own country.
Right, but these are.
I've used them all already. they're all
these are also people that no one's gonna miss. So Taylor's making that point that if you're gonna steal, you're gonna steal from us, because we have an issue societally, But yeah, I was gonna say something else about this, and then it spaced out. Shoot. Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember now. You guys remember in 52? Has it been a while since you guys have read?
It's been a while, yeah. But...
A while, yeah.
There was the Everyman Project with Lex, where he was turning around and trying to reboot Infinity Inc.
Okay, yeah.
And give people superpowers. It's kind of reminding me what the Rising is. Kind of along those same lines.
Yeah. This feels more like enslavement, with like superpowers, specifically this one.
Because the Everyman Project was more like a reality show where you had to apply and then they would give you powers. Here it definitely feels like it's less way less consent, like no consent.
To say, I don't think there's any consent forms being signed in this at all.
Yes.
So, but yeah.
So no. So there's a lot of good stuff in this issue. I think, the art I didn't even mention yet, particularly. Tim's is still Tim's. This is consistent artist that's been here since the start of the arc. So yeah. There's not much to really add, except it still looks like it did. His Damien looks a bit tall, perhaps, but maybe that's just maybe that's a conscious effort now to start to make him feel a bit taller because he's getting into that teen years.
I do think we're kind of edging towards that, because I'm assuming this is a post tournament Robin that we're seeing here. After continuity wise, it's set after whatever we're doing in that book right now, and I think we're at the point
lives in the
he's
past for 2 years. Yeah. He lives in the past for 2 years. Kind of has the same kind of deal that John did, so now they're both time displaced.
That works.
Yeah.
Sure. He's gonna come back and he's gonna be like, you know what? He's gonna come back and he's gonna be 1 day older than John, just so he can rub it in his face. I'm older again.
He could find a way back, but he chooses not to.
I'll wait
because he wants to be older than John when he gets back.
I'll wait another year. Another year.
See, now that would be Damien level penis.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Damien. No, it's good stuff. So what are you rating Superman, Matt?
7.
Connor?
Yeah, same. I think it's good on its own rights. I'm just dragging it down because of previous Taylor stories more than anything.
Yeah. I think I'm more bothered just in general by the new boyfriend's mother is so important and tied to the story. Like that just feels a bit too. Comic books do this all the time, where everyone has to turn out to be someone important, and not just comic books. Movies too. Yes, 7 sounds about right. Yeah.
It's a very convincing 7.
Yeah, well, because it's not any lesser than that, really. It's still well enough done. It's still got good character beats. It still has pretty solid art. There's nothing like I can. It's just I hate that trope, and I wish I hadn't done it.
7's perfectly fine. That's why I give out so many of them.